Hi, welcome to this Corbettmaths video. In this video, we're going to look at the video solutions to the angles practice questions. So there are questions that are based on the types of angles, drawing angles, and measuring angles. If you need any extra help on angles, if you go to Corbettmaths and go to the videos and worksheets section and scroll down to videos 28, 31, and 38, there'll be useful video tutorials there for you. Alternatively, scan this QR code. But in this video, we're going to focus on the video solutions to the practice questions, so let's get started. Okay, so let's have a look at question number one. Question number one, we've been given this angle, and the question says which type of angle is shown above. And we've been asked to circle our answer. And our choices are reflex, acute, obtuse, and right. Okay, so let's have a look at these options. So a reflex angle. A reflex angle is an angle that's bigger than 180 degrees. Now this angle isn't bigger than 180 degrees, so it's not a reflex angle. Okay, an acute angle. Well, an acute angle is bigger than 0 degrees, but less than 90 degrees. And this angle isn't less than 90 degrees, it's greater than 90 degrees, so it's not an acute angle. An obtuse angle. An obtuse angle is an angle between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. So we're looking for an angle that's bigger than 90, but less than 180. And that angle is bigger than 90, and it's less than 180, so it's an obtuse angle. So let's circle that option. And finally, our last option, just to check, it says right angle. A right angle is a 90-degree angle. That's not a 90-degree angle, so it's not a right angle. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number two. So question number two says, shown below are four angles, A, B, C, and D. And the question says, which angle is a right angle? Well, angle A is an acute angle, it's less than 90 degrees, so that's an acute angle. B is a right angle, so that is 90 degrees, so B is a right angle. Which angle is a right angle? B. C is a reflex angle, it's bigger than a straight line, it's bigger than 180 degrees, that's a reflex angle. And C is an obtuse angle. Now the question says, which angle is a right angle? As you can see here, especially with this little box showing it's a right angle, B is our right angle, that 90-degree angle. So that's it, our answer is angle B. Okay, question number three. Question number three says, which of the following types of angle is the smallest? Circle your answer. So our choices are an obtuse angle, a right angle, a reflex angle, and an acute angle. So a reflex is going to be the biggest angle. They're the angles that are bigger than 180 degrees. Obtuse then will be the next biggest. They're the angles that are bigger than 90 degrees but less than 180 degrees. A right angle is a 90-degree angle, but an acute angle is an angle that's less than 90 degrees. So it's going to be the smallest. So an acute angle is the smallest. That's the smallest of these options. That's the smallest type of angle there. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number four. Okay, so question number four. Question number four says, here's the trapezium. So we've got this trapezium, and we've been asked to mark a right angle with the letter R. So in terms of this trapezium, it's got four angles inside of it. We've got this right angle here, a right angle here. This is an obtuse angle, and this is an acute angle. So there are the four angles we've got inside that trapezium. And it says mark a right angle with the letter R. So we could mark this one with the letter R because that's a right angle. Or we could even mark this one with the letter R because that's a right angle. Now you actually only need to label one of those because it says mark a right angle with the letter R. Now I've labeled both of them just because obviously you may have labeled this one or this one. So I've just shown you that you can label either one of those two. Okay, part B. Part B says mark an acute angle with the letter A. Well, this is obtuse, it's bigger than 90 degrees, but this angle here is an acute angle. It's bigger than 0, but less than 90 degrees. So that's our acute angle in here. That's our acute angle, and I've labelled that A. Okay, let's look at our next part, part C. So part C says mark an obtuse angle with the letter O. So obviously this is our only option left. That's our obtuse angle. It's bigger than 90 but less than 180 degrees. So that's our obtuse angle there. And that's it. And just to remind you that in part A you didn't actually need to mark both of those with the letter R, just one of them. But I've just labelled both of them because obviously I want to show you that if you've done that one then it was right, or that one you've got it right. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 5. Okay, so question number 5. Question number 5 says the clock shows the time in the evening James returns from work. So this shows the time that James returns from work. And part A says write down the time shown on the clock. So it's, if we have a look at it, it's 5 past 5. So it's 5 past 5. Now it says in the evening, so it's going to be either 5:05 p.m. You can write it like that in 12-hour clock with the p.m. Or you could write it in 24-hour clock, and that's in the evening, so you'd have 12 to the hour, so it's going to be 17:05. Either one of those options would be fine. It says, what's the time shown on the clock? It's 5 past 5. And if you wrote it in 12-hour clock, you would have written it as 5:05 p.m. because it's in the evening. Or if you wrote it as 24-hour clock, you'd write 17:05 because that's 5 o'clock in the evening. Okay, let's look at our next part, part B. Part B says circle the type of angle shown between the hour hand and the minute hand. So here's the hour hand and here's the minute hand, and we want to circle the type of angle that's marked between those two hands, and you can see that's shown in red here. But so if we have a look at it, this angle is bigger than 90 degrees but is less than 180, so that's going to be an obtuse angle. So that's an obtuse angle. It's not an acute angle, that'd be less than 90 degrees. It's not a right angle because that'd be 90 degrees exactly, and that's not 90 degrees. And it's not a reflex angle because it's not bigger than 180 degrees. So that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. Okay, question number 6. So question number 6 says Emma measures 5 angles. So she's measured 5 angles as shown below the measurements and the type of angle. So we've got these measurements and we've got these types of angle. And the question says match each measurement to the correct type of angle. So we need to match these measurements to the correct type of angle. Okay, so 180 degrees. So that's a straight line. Let's have a look. Yeah, we've got a straight line there. So 180 degrees is a straight line. 79 degrees is less than 90 degrees. That's an acute angle. So that's an acute angle. 90 degrees, that's a right angle. 198 degrees, well, a straight line is 180, so that's bigger than a straight line, so that's going to be a reflex angle, so this is a reflex angle, just going up there. And finally, 94 degrees, it's bigger than 90, but it's less than 180 degrees, so that's an obtuse angle. So that's it. So that was a straight line, an acute angle, a right angle, a reflex angle, and an obtuse angle. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 7. Okay, so question number 7 says measure the size of the angle shown above. So we're going to get a protractor, and I'm going to use a 180 degree protractor like so. And I'm going to put the cross of the protractor on where the two lines meet there. So on the angle like so. And as you can see, we've got the cross of the protractor on where the two lines meet, and we've got the line with a 0 on it, on top of that line, so on top of that line. And if we wanted to measure the size of the angle, we're going to start at 0, and we're going to go 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, so that's a bigger line in the middle of 20 and 30. And it's one more, so that's 26 degrees. So the size of that angle is 26 degrees. So let's write that down. So it's 26 degrees. And in the answer section, I'm going to write 26 degrees. And that's it. That's the size of that angle, 26 degrees. Okay, so let's look at our next question, question number 8. So question number 8 says, here's a list of words connected with angles, and our choices are acute, reflex, obtuse, right, straight, and full turn. And it says, choose the correct word to describe each angle. So here we've got an angle, and we've got something angle. Here we've got an angle, and we've got something angle. And then if we scroll on down, then we've got another angle and something angle, and another angle there marked in red, and with the label of what type of angle it is, and so on. Okay, so let's start off here. This is a right angle. If you get your protractor, you'll see that's 90 degrees, or even looking at it, we've got this horizontal and vertical line. Now, obviously, right angles don't always have to be horizontal and vertical. You can't have right angles, you know, like obviously they're being rotated, but this is a horizontal line and a vertical line, so that means that it is a 90-degree angle there. So that is a 90-degree angle, so that's 90 degrees, and that means that is a right angle, so that's a right angle. So that's it. So we've chosen that word, right angle. Okay, this angle here, well, this is less than 90 degrees, so that's going to be an acute angle, and that's in our list. Fantastic, acute angle. Okay, next we've got this angle here. It's bigger than 90, but it's less than 180 degrees. That's an obtuse angle. Let's just check. Yep, obtuse angle is there, so obtuse. And finally, we've got this angle here. Now, the angle's marked in red here, so it's this big angle around the outside, so that's our reflex angle. It's bigger than a straight line, and if we just check, a reflex angle is in the list. That's a reflex angle, reflex. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 9. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 9. So question number 9 says, Rosalie has been asked to draw a 64-degree angle in a test, and here's her angle. So this is her angle. And then it says, Rosalie's teacher says that if the angle is between 62 and 66 degrees, I will give you a mark. So obviously she's been asked to draw a 64-degree angle, and the teacher's allowing her to go 2 degrees below that and 2 degrees above that, but not beyond that. So the teacher's going to give her a mark if she's got between 62 and 66 degrees. And the question says, will Rosalie receive a mark for her angle? Explain your answer. So we're going to measure this. So I'm now just going to measure this, and we're going to see if it's between 62 and 66 degrees. Okay, so let's measure the size of this angle. So we've got our protractor, and we're going to put the cross of the protractor on where the two lines meet, so on the angle like so. And as you can see, the line with 0 is on top of the other line, and we've got the 0 on the inside, so we're looking at the inside angles here as we go around. So here we've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Now it hasn't reached 60 degrees, so we've got 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, that's in the middle, 56, 57, 58, so that's 58 degrees. So that angle is a 58-degree angle. So let's write that down. It's a 58-degree angle, 58 degrees. Okay, so as you've seen, we've measured that, and that is a 58-degree angle. So that is a 58-degree angle. So the teacher said she was asked to draw a 64-degree angle, so her actual answer is 6 degrees below what it should be. And the teacher said if it was between 62 and 66, she'd be given a mark. Will she receive a mark? Well, no, that angle's too small, so let's explain that. And that's it. I've just explained that Rosalie has drawn a 58-degree angle, which is too small. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 10. Okay, so here's question number 10. And question number 10, it says that three angles meet at a point. So we've got these three angles that meet at a point. And we're told it's not being drawn accurately, so let's not try and measure this. We've been told it's not drawn accurately. And the question says, A, write down the sides of the acute angle. So we've got three angles. One of them's acute. Well, an acute angle is bigger than 0 degrees, but less than 90 degrees. So that's going to be 28 degrees. So that's 28 degrees. That's the size of the acute angle. And I don't need to do the degree symbol because it says degrees after it. And part B says write down the size of the reflex angle. So in terms of the angles here, the reflex angle is the one that's bigger than 180 degrees, the one that's bigger than a straight line. So that's going to be 192 degrees. So that's the reflex angle. And part C says find the sum of the three angles. So remember, sum means in maths to add up. So we need to do 28 plus 192 plus 140 degrees. And if we have a look at this question, it's a non-calculator question, so let's use our column addition. 28 plus 192 plus 140, and let's line them up and put a plus sign there. 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 0 is equal to 10, so 0 and then over 1, carry it over. 2 plus 9 is equal to 11, plus 4 is equal to 15, plus another 1 is equal to 16, so put a 6 down, carry on. And 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3, so that's equal to 360 degrees, and that makes sense because we've got three angles that meet at a point. And remember that they add degrees in a full turn is 360 degrees, or the angles at a point add together to be 360 degrees. So I'm glad that those added together to be 360 degrees, and that's it, 360. Okay, let's look at our next question. Okay, so let's have a look at question 11a. So 11a says measure the size of the angle y. So we're going to get a protractor and we're going to put the cross of the protractor on where the two lines meet. So here, like so. So as you can see, we've put the line with 0 on it on top of the other line, and 0 is on the outside. So we're going to go around 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. It's not 60 degrees, so we've got 50. And then we've got 55 in the middle, 56, 57, 58, 57, 58. I think that's about 58 degrees. So that's 58 degrees. So that's 58 degrees, and let's just write that down, 58 degrees, and that's it, that's the size of that angle. Okay, let's have a look at part B. Part B says draw and label an angle of 115 degrees. So let's get our ruler and let's draw a straight line to begin with. So this is going to be one of our lines of our angles. So let's draw a straight line like so. So we've drawn a line and we want to draw an angle that's 115 degrees. So let's get our protractor, and we can either put the protractor on this side, so we can put the protractor on the left hand side, start at 0 on the inside and go around 115 degrees, or we could put the protractor on this side of the line. I'm going to put the cross of the protractor on the right hand side of the line like so. So as you can see there, it's on top of the line. We've got 0 here on top of the line, and we're going to go around to 115 degrees. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, all the way around to 90. That's our right angle. 100, 110. There's 120. 115 is going to be in the middle. So I'm just going to put a little mark there at 115 degrees. Now we're going to take that away. We're going to get our ruler, and we're going to put the pencil on the end of the line where that cross of the protractor was. And we're going to show a straight line through that little dot that we done. And as you can see, there is our obtuse angle, our 115 degree angle. So 115 degrees. And that's it. And the question also said to label it. So we've labeled it 115 degrees and we've put in that arc. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 12. So question number 12a, we've been asked to measure the length of the line AB. So we're going to measure the length of that line. Now, before we do that, I just want to mention that whenever things are printed, they sometimes are printed to different scales. So actually, even by looking at this one, and I've measured this one already, and whenever I compare it to the answers on the website, I've actually changed the settings of my printer. So I actually know that this one's a slightly different size. Your teacher may actually print 2 pages per page to try and save money. I'm not entirely sure, but just to mention that whenever I measure the length of this line, it might not be exactly the same as yours, but I'm just going to show you the technique. So we want to measure the length of the line AB. So get your ruler and put the 0 on at the beginning of the line like so. So where A is, so as you can see here, we've got 0 there at the beginning of the line, and we're going to line up the ruler with the line, and as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, all the way to 11 centimeters. It hasn't reached 12 centimeters, so you get 11.1, 11.2, 11.3, 11.4. So that's 11.4 centimeters. So that's the length of the line AB, 11.4 centimeters. And then part B says, what type of angle is X? So here, we can see this angle is bigger than 0 degrees and it's less than 90 degrees. So that's an acute angle, so acute. And then part C says measure the size of angle Y. So this angle Y, let's actually look at it to begin with. It's bigger than a right angle, so that's an obtuse angle. It's bigger than 90 degrees but less than 180. So whenever we measure it, we're expecting an answer that's bigger than 90 degrees and less than 180. That's quite useful actually to just make sure you know what type of angle it is before you measure it, to make sure that your measurement matches up. So let's get a protractor and we're going to put it on where the two lines meet. So there. And then we can see we've got here the line with 0 on it lined up with the line here at the bottom. And then we're going to measure the size of that angle. So we're going to go around. Now the 0 is on the outside, so we're going to look at the outside angles. 10, 20, 30, all the way around to 90. There's our right angle. 100, 110, 111, 112, 113. So that's 113 degrees. So that's 113 degrees. 113 degrees. And that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 13. So question number 13A says, in the space below, draw an angle of 80 degrees at A. So we want to draw an 80-degree angle here. Remember, 80 degrees is an acute angle, so it's going to be smaller than a right angle. And we're going to get our protractor. Now we're going to put it on A, so the cross of the protractor on the end of the line. And we're also going to make sure that the line with the 0 on it, so as you can see here, the 0 is on the inside. So we're going to start there and we're going to go around to 80 degrees. So 10, 20, 30, all the way around, 50, 60, 70, 80 degrees is there on the inside, 80 degrees. So that's it there. And just make sure you're looking at the inside angles whenever you go around to that 80 degrees. So we put a little mark. I didn't go to this 80 degrees because that would have been an obtuse angle. We're marking an 80-degree angle, which is an acute angle. And we were looking at the inside angles. So now we're going to get our ruler and we're going to draw a line from A passing through that little dash that we drew. So we're just going to draw it like so. And that's it. So that's an 80-degree angle, 80 degrees. And that's it. So that's that question done. That's question 13A. Okay, let's have a look at question 13B. So 13B says, draw an angle of 225 degrees at B. So we want to draw a 225 degree angle here. And remember, 225 degrees is bigger than 180, so that's a reflex angle. Now, before we do this question, we could use a 180 degree protractor like this, and I'm going to use that in one of the approaches. And also we could use a 360 degree protractor. And I really like these protractors. They're really useful for measuring reflex angles or drawing reflex angles, but they're also really useful whenever you're doing bearings questions, because if you've got a bearing that's bigger than 180 degrees, these are really useful. Okay, so actually I'm just going to show how you would use this one to begin with. So if I wanted to use this protractor, it's 360 degree one, and I highly recommend getting one. Put the cross of the protractor on the line at B, like so, and put the 0 degrees there. So as you can see here is 0 degrees. Now, depending on which way we want to go round, which way you want to draw your angle, you could go around this way and go around 125 degrees, or alternatively, go around the inside angles and go around to 225 degrees. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to start at 0 and go 10, 20, 30, all the way around to 180, our straight line, 190, 200, 210, 220, 230, so 225 there would be in the middle. So that's our 225 degree angle going around anti-clockwise. And then we could join those up. We could draw a line from B passing through that and then mark on our reflex angle of 225 degrees. So that's one approach. Alternatively, you could get your 180 degree protractor like so. Put the cross of the protractor on B. And again, you can see here the 0 on the lines on the inside. So we go around to 180 degrees, which should be there. And we put a little dash. So that's 180 degrees. Now we need to go a little bit further because this is a reflex angle. So if we do our 225 and take away 180, let's see what we get. 5 take away 0 is equal to 5. 2 take away 8, let's borrow. So 12 take away 8 is equal to 4. And 1 take away 1 is 0. So we need to go another 45 degrees. So that's 180. We now get our protractor. Okay, so it's just turned around the protractor and I put the cross of the protractor on B and I've put the 0 here lined up with the point that we've just drawn. And we're going to go around another 45 degrees. And as you can see, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 45 is in the middle, and that's where we've done that dash earlier, so that's 225 degrees. So we're going to get our ruler, we're going to then line it up, get our B and line it up with that little dash we've drawn earlier, and then we're just going to draw a nice straight line through that, and that's it. So this is a reflex angle, it's bigger than 180 degrees, it's 225 degrees, and that's it. So that's one approach that we could use to that question. Actually, two approaches. You could use the 360 degree protractor, or you could use the 180 degree protractor and measure 180 and then go another 45 degrees. Or actually another approach you could use in this question would have been to take 360 degrees, take away the 225 degrees. So if we take those away, let's see what we get. So borrow 1, that's going to be 10 take away 5 is 5. 5 take away 2 is 3, and 3 take away 2 is equal to 1. You could then draw that obtuse angle, the 135 degree angle, and then measure the other side of it. So here, this part's going to be 135 degrees, so then that's 225. So you could use a few different approaches in drawing those reflex angles. My favorite approach is getting 360 degree protractor, and that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question. Okay, so question number 14. Question number 14 says measure the reflex angle y shown below. So we want to measure this reflex angle. There's a few different approaches we could use. One approach is to get our 360 degree protractor, this one here, and we could get the protractor and we could put the cross of the protractor on where the two lines meet, like so. And we could either put the 0 here on one of the lines, like this one here. So as you can see, we've got the 0 lined up with this line. And we're going to round this way, anti-clockwise. So we're going to be looking at the inside angles here, 10, 20, 30, all the way around to this line here, which is in between 270 and 280. So that's a 275 degree angle. So we could do it that way, or we could actually get the protractor and put it this way here with the cross of the protractor on where the two lines meet. Again, put the 0 on the line, and we're going to go around this time clockwise. And again, if you go around clockwise, you get to, just knocked it, you're going to go to 275 degrees again, like so. So that angle is 275 degrees. So you could measure it with your 360 degree protractor. That's one approach. Alternatively, you could use your 180 degree protractor. And the way I'd actually do this with a 180 degree protractor is to measure this acute angle. And you know that these two angles, they make a full turn. So if you measure the acute angle and take it away from 360, you can find the size of the reflex angle. So if I was to do that, I would measure. So here, I've put the cross of the protractor on where the two lines meet. I've put the 0 on the line, and I'm going to go round to the angle. And we're going to looking at the angles on the inside. So 10, 20, 30, all the way around. 80, there's 90, so that's 85 in the middle, exactly in the middle there. So that means that this acute angle here is 85 degrees. And then if we take that 85 degrees away from 360, hopefully we will get 275 degrees. So 0 take away 5, well, let's borrow. So that's now 10 take away 5, which is 5. 5 take away 8, let's borrow again. So we've now got 15 take away 8, which is 7. And 2 take away 0 is 2. So that means that the other angle is 275 degrees. And that's what we were looking for, 275 degrees. So that's another approach that you could use. So that's two approaches. Another approach would be actually to carry on one of these two lines. So here you could actually carry on this line here. That bit's then 180 degrees. You can measure this extra bit and add it on. There's a few different approaches in terms of measuring reflex angles. So there's a few different approaches you could use to measure reflex angles. Okay, let's have a look at our last question, question number 16. So question number 16 says, Hannah is measuring an obtuse angle in her maths exam. So she's measuring an obtuse angle in her maths exam. And she's written the answer 32 degrees. So she's written an answer of 32 degrees. Her teacher said that she has looked at the outside number instead of the inside number in her protractor. And we're asked, what angle should Hannah have put down on her exam? So obviously Hannah's here, she's measuring an obtuse angle, she's measuring it with a protractor, a 180 degree protractor, and she's written down an answer of 32 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the question in two different ways. One approach is I'm just going to talk about it and work out the answer, and the other approach is we actually look at the protractor and have a look and see what the answer should be. Okay, so in terms of working it out, okay, so if we just consider this answer 32 degrees, we're told that she's measuring an obtuse angle, so the angle that she's measuring needs to be bigger than 90 degrees but less than 180 degrees, and with 32 degrees, obviously that's an acute angle, so that's wrong. Now if you have a look at your protractor, your 180 degree protractor, the inside angle and the outside angle will always add together to be 180 degrees. You're going to have 0 and 180 degrees beside each other there. You're then going to have 10 and 170 degrees and so on. So if she's got 32 degrees, well, 32 degrees and the correct answer will add together to be 180 degrees. So let's work that out. So let's take a 180 degrees and take away 32 and see what we get. So 180 take away 30 is 150. Take away another 2 would be 148. So it's 148 degrees. So what angle should Hannah have put down on her exam? The answer is 148 degrees. And that's it. Let's have a look at now the protractor and actually see why that's the case. So if we actually go around to 32 degrees, 10, 20, 30, 31, 32 degrees, that's there. But actually there's another number here if you were to actually be going around this way. So if the angle was an obtuse angle, it would actually be 140, 145, 146, 47, 48. So that'd be 148 degrees. So the angles, if we look at them, 40, 140, 80, 180, 110 and 70. 1 degrees and 179 degrees and so on. So the angles will add together to be 180 degrees, and obviously because it's an obtuse angle, if it's not 32 it must be 148, as long as she's measured it correctly, as long as she's gone to the direct point of the protractor. And that's it. Okay, and that's it. So in this video, we've looked at the video solutions to the types of angles, drawing angles, and measuring angles practice questions. I really hope you found this video useful. If you need any extra help on angles, if you watch videos 28, 31, and 38 in corporate maths, they'll be really, really useful. But that's it. So I really, really hope you found this video useful. If you have found it useful, please like it and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.